look at circulation, and yeah, we have gone through some parts of circulation throughout this video, and in the last section we went through breathing and so on. Now let's take a look at circulation in a bit more detail. So further information is, as always, in the circulatory system and just an individual Wikipedia article. So a circulatory system usually consists of a muscular pump, such as a heart, a fluid, blood, and a system and system of blood vessels that deliver it. Yeah, so its principal function is to transport blood and other substances to and from cells and tissues. There are two types of circulatory systems, open and closed. In open circulatory systems, blood exits blood vessels as it circulates throughout the body, whereas in closed circulatory system, let's see the pronunciation here.
Circulatory.
Yes, a circulatory system. Blood is contained within the blood vessels as it circulates. Open circulatory systems can be observed in invertebrate animals such as arthropods, i.e. or e.g. insects, spiders, and lobsters. Whereas closed circulatory systems can be found in vertebrate animals such as fishes, amphibians, and mammals. Circulation in animals occur between two types of tissues: systemic tissues and breathing or pulmonary organs. Yeah, so in mammals you got two types of circulation there. So systemic tissues and two types of tissues and circulation in them, and breathing or pulmonary organs. Systemic tissues are all the tissues and organs that make up an animal's body other than its breathing organs. Systemic tissues take up oxygen but adds carbon dioxide to the blood, whereas a breathing organs, or just I think this is a copy and paste from Wiki, so I'll write seek for grammatical error there. Whereas breathing organs takes up or it should be take up, but yeah, I'll just put it over here. Yeah, so this whole sentence. Whereas a breathing organs takes up, or a breathing organ takes up, or breathing organs take up. Anyways, where a breathing organ takes up, organ takes up carbon dioxide, but add oxygen to the blood. Yeah, so the lungs take up when you're exhaling, takes up the carbon dioxide. And then when you're breathing in, it adds oxygen to the blood. So it takes out and in. And it's opposite for the systemic tissues. They take up oxygen, and then they add carbon dioxide. So in birds and mammals, the systemic and pulmonary systems are connected in series. And so illustrated series is basically you're aligning it in sequential or so in a sequence like that. So what light bulb there. So here's a series versus parallel. This figure is from litteroflightusa.org. So solar panels in series versus parallel. So you have a battery, and the current goes through, and series, and then parallel splits up. So parallel splits up. This one goes straight directly. And another note is going over here. So the medical terms related to the lung often begin with pulma, from the Latin pulmonarius, meaning of the lungs. Let's see the pronunciation.
Pulmonarius.
Or pulmonarius. So here, breathing or pulmonary, etc. So meaning of the lungs. Very interesting. And here, so now let's look at circulatory systems in arthropods, fish, and reptiles, and birds/mammals. So here we have arthropods/mollusca, and so you have a heart. It goes through around the circulation system, and then there's this hemolymph. We'll get to that in a bit. And then it goes to the body, and it circulates like that. And so there's the pump there, the heart. Now in fish, you could have multiple hearts. It looks like a more complicated heart. So fish like this pumps, goes into the gills, and then goes to the body. And then the body goes back down to the heart. And this one is representing oxygenated blood. So it goes in there, oxygenates, and goes over there. This one is interesting. It's not that, does not show much oxygen there. Yeah, or if any in this circulation system. So reptiles reptiles. I think this is a typo. Should be reptiles. So there's an E there. So anyways, you have lungs. The way it's set up is it looks like this. So you have lungs, and then so it pumps oxygenated blood from breathing, and then down to this left atria or left ventricle, and if you consider that a ventricle there, then it pumps out on the top, so goes in the bottom of this left side, goes in the top of the left side, and circulates out. But there's also a system here, another tube there, and then this goes to the body, and then the body sends in deoxygenated blood back to the heart and goes up like this. But at the same time, you have a mixture right here. You also have this setup here, so it looks like the mammal/birds setup, but this one here, so it goes back to the lungs. But there's also a section of this light reddish tube there, representing a mixture of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood around to the body there, or back to the circulation of the blood setup here. Yeah, which is quite interesting. So it goes there, and in the middle of the heart, it still goes back over to here. And mammals/birds, so we have the typical lungs, breathes in air, oxygenates it, goes over to here, goes over to the left side of the heart, and then goes over to this aorta, the artery, and then pumps back, and then there's the veins back to the heart, etc., and then back to the lungs over there. Yeah, so notice that's typically in series. So this is series, it goes all one loop, and this one right here goes like this, all directly, and there, but it also has a secondary loop there. And this one right here is all just one giant loop. So it's in series, just quite remarkable. Just note here on this hemolymph. So this hemolymph, let's see the pronunciation here.
Hemolymph.
Yeah, let's try that again. The computer just blew up. Let's press it here.
Hemolymph or hemolymph.
Yeah, so hemolymph, or just with an extra E there, is a fluid analogous to the blood in vertebrates that circulates in the interior of the arthropod or invertebrate body, remaining in direct contact with the animal's tissues. It is composed of a fluid plasma in which hemolymph cells called hemocytes are suspended. In addition to hemocytes, the plasma also contains many chemicals. It is the major tissue of the open circulatory system, characteristic of arthropods. So it's open right here, so it goes through the whole body, and then there's another channel for it to eventually get back. But notice how these are closed. This one's closed, this one is open, it can leak out to the environment, which is quite interesting. Yeah, so it is a major tissue type of the open circulatory system, characteristic of arthropods, e.g. arachnids, spiders, etc., crustaceans, lobsters, etc., and insects. And in addition, some non-arthropods, such as molluscs, snails, etc., possess a hemolymphatic circulatory system. Oxygen transport systems were long thought unnecessary in insects, but ancestral and functional hemocyanin. See this pronunciation?
Hemocyanin.
Hemocyanin has been found in the hemolymph. So you have hemocyans, also spelled hemiocyans with the E in front, and abbreviated HC, are proteins that transport oxygen throughout the body of some invertebrate animals. So yes, even though there isn't much oxygen, but there is still some sort of functional oxygen transport systems in insects. Pretty interesting. All right, let's continue further. So this right here, this is a simplified version saying to the body, but it's obviously much more complicated than that. So the body is going to look something like this. There's more details. The systemic circulation and capillary networks shown, and also as separate from the it's shown and also as separate from the pulmonary circulation. So yes, it's just separate. Yeah, I'm not sure how the exact wording here. The system, basically the systemic and capillary networks. So you have the systemic one going to the whole body, and there's a capillary setup that's over there, the different capillary networks, as well as the pulmonary circulation over here to the lungs. So there's the lungs, there's a pulmonary vein, so that pumps oxygenated blood to the heart, and then it goes down to this left atrium, down to the left ventricle, goes up to the aorta, and then there's a upper body capillary network over here. There's a vena cava, that is that major vein over there that brings in deoxygenated blood from the body back into the lungs there, and into that right atrium, then down the right ventricle, then up this pulmonary artery away from the heart, but that's deoxygenated becomes an artery whenever it's going away from the heart. So anyways, that's pulmonary circulation. And this is the capillary network right here in that lungs, in that alveoli, or the alveoli sacs there, surrounded by the capillary networks. And then going further, so you have the aorta branches out over here. There's a liver surrounded by this capillary network there, and this is called the hepatic vein. There's a renal vein where the kidneys are, a renal artery going in over here from the heart. This is back to the heart, etc. There's lower body and so on. There's stomach, intestines, etc. And so then vessels in red, vessels transporting oxygenated blood. And then here in blue, vessels transporting deoxygenated blood. And then in purple, vessels involved in gas exchange. Right here, you're intermixing oxygenated blood into this other system, deoxygenated blood, eventually getting over to here. So from the tissues, there's a circulation there. Purple, hence you're basically intermixing the two types. And well, basically you're taking out the oxygen from this setup here. So you're going to have a gradually becoming more and more deoxygenated, and all of a sudden more deoxygenated. Alright, there's the systemic circulation, pulmonary circulation separate there. And again, note simplified illustration of a capillary network. You have the vein, artery, capillaries. And then the ones that branch out, these are the arterioles, and then these are the venols, as we illustrated earlier. Anyways, we can make this a bit smaller, and let's continue further. Alright, so in the circulatory system, blood is important because it is the means by which oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, hormones, agents of immune system, heat, wastes, and other commodities are transported. Yes, even heat, which is interesting. Yeah, and now in annelids, or a worm phylum, let's see the pronunciation.
Annelids.
Oh yeah, annelids, which is a phylum of worms, or worm phylum, such as earthworms and leeches. Blood is propelled by peristaltic waves of contractions of the heart muscle that make up the blood vessels. You have the heart muscles that make up the blood vessels. Yeah, so which is interesting. So there's peristaltic one, where basically how the esophagus drags down food down to your stomach, but this is done for the blood. Yeah, via the heart muscles, which is for these worms. Yeah, basically the worms. You think of the worm. Basically, it contracts, expands, and then pushes it all the way across. So you have this setup over here. Here's a worm, and then it's moving its blood across like that through the heart muscles. Quite interesting. Yeah, so it has a compression expansion wave. Other animals such as crustaceans, e.g. crayfish, lobsters, have more than one heart to propel blood throughout their bodies. So interesting, more than one heart. Vertebrate hearts are multi-chambered and are able to pump blood when their ventricles contract at each cardiac cycle. Yeah, so the ventricle is the bottom parts over there. Area contracts, and then it leaves the blood is leaving the heart from that, which propels blood through the blood vessels. Although vertebrate hearts are myogenic, which is rhythmic beating, which means rhythmic beating due to inherent properties of cardiac muscle rather than specific stimuli, the rate of contraction or heart rate can be modulated by neural input from the body's autonomic nervous system, which regulates unconscious bodily functions. Yeah, basically what it's saying here is that although vertebrate hearts are myogenic, that means that there's just rhythmic beating just of the heart cardiac muscle, just without any specific stimulus. It just keeps beating, etc. The rate of contraction can still be modulated by neural input by the body's autonomic nervous system, which regulates unconscious bodily activities, such as when there's a lot of stress, your heart pumping, or etc., or lions chasing you. That's interesting. So let me just note the human heart has 4 chambers: 2 upper atria, and then plural singular is atrium, the receiving chambers, and then 2 lower ventricles, the discharging chambers. So cardiac means of or pertains to the heart, and is from the Latin cardiacus. Let's see the pronunciation.
Cardiacus.
Cardiacus. And let's see the pronunciation here of cardiac.
Cardiac.
Yes, so cardiac. So yes, it's basically from the Latin cardiacus or cardiacus. So yeah, check out the pumping here. The computer-generated animation of a beating human heart. It's computer-generated. Pretty interesting. Yeah. So basically, from here, look at the ventricles at the bottom as they contract. Then the let's see if it stops here. Yeah, as it contracts, then it pushes the the blood through these holes there. And notice that this closes up when it contracts. This actually, now this opens up. Let's see. Actually, that's expanding. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, so it's closed right here, and this is expanding. So it's coming in, and then pushes out, and through this aorta. I believe that's how it looks like. See this again? See if I can do it slower. Okay, so now it's open. This is contracting. Contracting, and it's opened. Then when it opens, it's going to be opening out. It's going to be, see that again slowly. It's close, open. Alright, yeah, it's not sure how to slow it down, but basically, look, when it opens up, this is closed. So it's opening up, closed. And then when it pushes in, it opens. When it pushes in, open, but this gets closed. When this is squeezing, it's closed. See that? When it's squeezed, closed. It closed. Now it's going to be closing now that it's opening up. Okay, so now it's pushing in. This is open. This is closed. Yes, and the opposite. Anyway, it's very, very fascinating. And here's that image again that we had seen. So the heart showing valves, arteries, and veins. The white arrows show the normal direction of blood. Yeah, so that's the normal direction of blood flow. Let's take a look. So there's the inferior vena cava, the bottom part, and then it goes in. So from the body tissues, comes in into the right atrium, which goes to the right ventricle, and then goes up over here to the pulmonary arteries over there. And this is superior vena cava, the top part, and there's a pulmonary valve, and there's the tricuspid valve over here. And yeah, so as this contracts here, so this goes out, and at the same time, you also have the pulmonary vein coming back in here. So once this goes over to the lungs, and then the lungs bring it back to the pulmonary arteries, and this setup over here, the two lungs there, splits up over in here. There's a left atrium going down into the through the vitreal valve, and then goes to the left ventricle, and then this pumps over into here. Yeah, so that is how it looks like. There's a left ventricle, goes into the aortic valve, and goes to the aorta, then to the body, etc. And this is pericardium. This is just the outer linings around it. And very, very fascinating stuff. All right, let's continue further. Here is with the atrium and major vessels removed, all four valves are clearly visible. So you remove the atria, the top part, and major vessels are removed, so you can just see the valves. So there's a pulmonary valve, and then there's the anterior, the bottom side. There's a posterior, the top side, and then there's the aortic valve. This goes to the aorta. This goes to the pulmonary. This should be this pulmonary valve. This goes to the that should be going to the lungs. So let's see what the pulmonary valve is over here. So the pulmonary valve right here. Yeah. So you have the blood from the body comes into the right atrium, then through the right ventricle, through the pulmonary valve, and then it goes into the pulmonary the arteries over there. Yes, and that is how that looks like over there. And let's take a look over there. So that is the major one, and it's notice how it's split up like this. So split up, these two are next to each other. This is pulmonary. No, this is the aortic valve. That's the pulmonary valve. Let's erase this, and let's go back here. Yeah, so there's the pulmonary valve, which pushes it out to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. And there's an aortic valve, which pushes it to the body. And there's the tricuspid. Tricuspid. Yeah, I just paused the video and just to Google it. It's a tricuspid. Yeah, so tricuspid valve. That's in the right atrium, is the right side of the heart. Left side is the bicuspid mitral valve over there. Posterior and the back is the interior. I mean, anterior is the front. That's the posterior is the back side. So look at it. Very, very fascinating. Let's continue further. So the cardiac cycle is the performance of the human heart from the beginning of one heartbeat to the beginning of the next. It consists of two periods. One during which the heart muscle relaxes and refills with blood, called diastole. See the pronunciation?
Diastole.
Or diastole. Followed a period of robust contraction and pumping of blood called or dubbed systole.
Systole.
Or systole. Or a diastole or a systole. After emptying, the heart immediately relaxes and expands to receive another influx of blood returning from the lungs and other systems of the body, before again contracting to pump blood to the lungs and those systems. So here's the heart pumping here. MRI video of a teen's heart, of a teen's heart beating. This is magnetic resonance imaging here. So notice the heart in, the blood goes in, pumps out. And then it relaxes to allow blood going into here, which opens up the inside here and pumps out. So it's very, very fascinating. So this would be the vena cava here, I would assume, and there's to the lungs connected right to it. Just quite remarkable stuff we're looking at. So so we've gone over here. So yeah, the next part here. Heart rate is the speed of the heartbeat cardiac cycle measured by the number of contractions or beats of the heart per minute, BPM. The heart rate can vary according to the body's physical needs, including the need to absorb oxygen and excrete carbon dioxide. But it is also modulated by myriad, is the pronunciation?
Myriad.
Yeah, myriad or lots of factors, including but not limited to genetics, physical fitness, stress, or psychological status. Diet, drugs, hormonal status, environment, and disease/illness, as well as the interaction between and among these factors. It is usually equal or close to the pulse, which is physically feeling the heartbeat from arteries, measured at any peripheral point. Yeah, so you can measure it from a pulse just by touching any of the arteries there at any peripheral or outside points, such as your wrists, etc. The American Heart Association states that the normal resting adult heart rate is 60 to 100 beats per minute. It's a pretty big range.